All right, welcome to Before Floor, an extension of 5 on the Floor here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. We are sponsored, as always, by our friends over at Biscayne Bay Brewing. It's Friday. Go get you some. Biscayne Bay Brew, the official beer of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, also of the Miami Marlins, who are making moves. Miami Hurricanes are making moves, too. Maybe we should be drinking to that. You can get the Regatta Double IPA, the Tropical Bay IPA. That's my favorite, the Marlins Lager, and all the other great beers at your local grocery stores, your Whole Foods, your Winn-Dixie, your Publix, but also at many local restaurants, including our partner Quarterdeck. And beyond that, you can also get it at the kiosks at the FTX Arena. It's at the 100 level and at the 300 level. So get the great beer sponsor of ours, and also the only independent brewery now in South Florida. We're also sponsored by our friend Mark Brown, M-A-R-C, spelled the same way as Ricky's last name, marcbrownpa.com, helping you build a better future. This is the man with a plan. You want to go to him for an estate plan. Also, he's got a title company right there in-house. So if you got real estate that you got to figure out what to do with, he can certainly help you with that. Make sure that your estate, whatever it is, however big or however small, goes to the right people. 954-566-5678 is the phone number. I appreciate Alejandro doing this. He respects my eyes more than Manny Chang does. 954-566-5678 or markbrownpa.com. Again, he's located in North Lauderdale, just north of Cypress Creek Boulevard off of Andrews. All right, we got one more sponsor. We're going to tell you about them in 5 minutes, and it's really cool. We're going to give you a chance to win some of $300 in our first of many contests we got going forward. But before we do, let's get to it. Brady's was just on the calls. I saw it as I was pulling into my apartment here. Who's in, who's out?
Yeah, it's pretty much the expected ones. No big changes. Obviously, Bam, Markieff Morris, and Jimmy Butler is probably not going to play tonight or the next game because it was reported, I think, by Ira right after it happened that he was going to be out prolonged through this period of time, which makes it even harder because these are some hard games. Like the beginning of December is much harder than the end of December. So they're going to have to try to get through these. I think it's going to be a similar rotation. And then on the other side, Indiana, I think it's without TJ McConnell, which is actually a pretty big piece, especially when you're looking at when you're talking about the guards on Miami or the guys that have to thrive tonight. Not having TJ McConnell is actually pretty big.
All right. By the way, Brady, Greg, Alejandro, our producer, Ricky, me, no Jonathan tonight, but we're going to carry on without him. Greg, we talked about this. I mentioned you. We talked about this last night on Floor's Yours. Brian Young joined us on that one. People should catch that on the channel. Like solutions. We're trying to be solution oriented here. I mean, there's no use crying about it now. Bam's going to be out for an extended period of time. You don't have Jimmy. We don't know if Markieff Morris is, I don't know when he's coming back. Nobody has any idea. But Eric Spoelstra said something in the pregame, and I saw Brady, you tweeted this, that we have to adjust. And this morning we did, right? So I don't know. I doubt he listened to Floor's Yours last night, but we had some suggestions. What do you think is the one thing he will do tonight that's different?
Play smaller. I think that I guess maybe that's a weird thing to say when you're up against is Sabonis and Turner both active tonight?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so maybe going smaller is going to be a little bit more difficult, but I actually think that they may try some stuff like that. I just don't really know what, I mean, is he alluding to Duncan sitting? Like, is that what he's alluding to? But I mean, he definitely said like adjustments need to be constructed. We did it over the break. It sounded like that's how he was like framed it up, according to the way I read it from Brady, is like that whatever they did in those first two, what we're going to see tonight is a more prepared version. So I'm interested to see what it is. I'm not smart enough. We got to get Nikias on here. Brady probably knows what the hell they're going to do better than I do.
Ricky, what would you do? I mean, can you just roll out what you rolled out last time and hope it works better?
Well, first of all, happy Hanukkah, everybody. Hope for a miracle. I think it's fitting given the circumstances. Look, I think playing small is something that Eric Spoelstra has been known to do. This was a guy who once mused about starting or playing Michael Beasley at center at one point. Right. I think this is something that if you are able to push the pace and play guys like Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis off the floor, it could work. But the only way that works, and I know we've talked about this a million times, both in pregame, during spaces, well, no, that's not both anymore, but in pregame spaces and on the post up, Duncan's got to be a sniper again. That's right. The only way this works. If Kyle Lowry starts to hit threes again, if Duncan becomes a sniper again, And if Gabe Vincent continues this nice string of play where they're able to keep teams honest, but if that doesn't happen, then it's going to be a tough stretch for the time being.
Well, here's the one positive to look at, Brady. Duncan Robinson has shot the ball better on the road than he has at home. Like, I mean, if he's going to break out, it's probably not going to happen at home at this stage. He's at 21%, but he is shooting 38% from three on the road with much more of a sample size, actually, which is why his overall percentage is in the 30s instead of in the 20s, because he's actually played 13 games on the road. But again, he hasn't been on the road in a while now, and his confidence appears broken. So let's say Duncan starts tonight, which I think we're all assuming. Like, when should the hook be? Because you can't have a 20-minute 0-0-0-0-0-0 for 7 performance again. Like, you just can't.
Yeah, I think for one, last time they faced Indiana, I think he was 4 for 9 from 3, so he actually shot the ball well against Indiana. But if he comes out like he did, like, you can tell they're not scared to go to the Caleb Martin, Max Strus route. Like, he talked about even a couple minutes ago where he talked about the bench. Like, looking at last game, their best lineups were with Tyler with the 3 previous / current two-ways. Like, they're getting great production from them that they're not going to look away from Max Strus if they're not getting it from Duncan. It doesn't mean that they're going to look away from him completely, because if you're without Jimmy, you're without Bam. I said before, like, you need Kyle and Duncan to win these games. Like, one of them, you're in it. They both play bad. You're not in it. But if both of them play well, you have a chance, and it just feels like they cannot go away from him too soon. That I don't think Spo will, because as we know, Spo likes to just keep going with that. But when talking about going back real quick to the changes I think they can make, I think the one we'll see is that I don't think we're going to see a lot of switching against this team specifically. If you look earlier in the season when they faced Indiana, they almost went like fully drop, which is kind of crazy. It is mostly because of, as you mentioned, the 2 bigs. They're going to basically force them to just make mid-range jumpers. Brogdon kind of did that against them, but you're going to have to live with that against this team, especially now. They don't have Bam in this one. They don't have Jimmy in this one. Like, you were probably going to have to do it anyways with Deadman, but now it seems like the matchup-wise, this isn't a terrible matchup to go drop against. So it just seems like a game where you're going to see total drop in zone, and they're going to switch between that, which is something probably a lot of fans probably like, because of the switching kind of irritating so many people when they get the small guy down low.
You know what's so strange about this? I mean, to think that before the season, the big question about this team was the depth, and whether or not so much Strus, but Martin and Vincent can be counted on to play in the rotation in any way. And now it's like when Lowry and Robinson leave the floor and those 3 guys in, you feel better. Like, that's not a sustainable formula. I mean, it's good that those guys have played well, but that you're not going anywhere with trusting Max and Caleb and Gabe to be the guys. It has to be in addition to Herro, Lowry, and Robinson. It just has to be. All right, we're going to get to more of this in a second, and I'm going to address some of this Dame stuff and everything else and the trade stuff, because there's a lot of crazy garbage out there today. Before we do, though, we got a contest, and I want to get to it before too long here. And this is with ASX. Okay, they're giving away money. Okay. So basically what this is like a stock market for sports, and we're going to experiment with this tomorrow for the first time. What we want people to do, it's free. It costs you nothing. Go to, if you're Android, I apologize. If you're Android, download at the Google Play Store. If you're Apple, go to I only say apologize because I hate the Android phones on text message string. It drives me crazy. But go to the App Store if you have an iPhone. Download ASX. Okay, it's totally free. Going to be giving away $300 tomorrow. The entry code there is 0603. So basically what this is it's a fantasy sports app, but it allows you to trade share in the players in game. Okay, so you get, based on what they do, is how many points that you're going to accumulate. So they score points, assists, defensive rebounds, blocks, whatever it may happen to be. And they've designed a special contest with us to get this started throughout the 5 Reasons Sports Network. So it's for the Heat Bucks game. It's going to open. You can go all the way up until tip tomorrow, but it's going to open at 8 o'clock tonight because it's 24 hours before that tip. Okay, so it's not for Heat Pacers. It's for Heat Bucks, which, of course, they play tomorrow night. And so whenever you listen to this, if it's before the tip, you can do it. They give you 1,000 fantasy bucks to invest in the contest and buy shares in your favorite players. So it's kind of like a Robinhood. If anybody invests stocks, like using Robinhood, where you get like a piece of a stock, but maybe not a full share. It's kind of what this is. Okay. And you can pick, but the only thing is you got to pick at least 3 players. Okay, so you could pick Herro, Robinson if you're feeling lucky, Lowry, etc. So ASX is what you want to download. So go there, do that, and if we get enough people doing this, the contests are going to get bigger, the money's going to get bigger, and we'll do this off more games. Again, the entry code is 0603. 0603. All right, let's get back to it.
If you have questions, add us on Twitter, and we can tell you what you need to know about getting involved with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot we're going to do with it over the next 24. I know Alejandro's already downloaded. I'm going to download it tonight, and we're gonna all participate in there and see who wins the money. All right, so let's get to some of the comments that came in here a little bit earlier. There you go, right there, right downloaded. Alejandro's got it. The Portland Trailblazers are not trading Dame Lillard. Greg, I know you stoked this on Twitter.
It's unfortunate.
It was just a hypothetical.
Okay, I understand, but like I saw this come in here on the strip. The Blazers are not trading Dame Lillard for Kyle Lowry, right? And Tyler Herro was the other guy you had in there, right?
Yeah. I mean, Herro is a blue chip prospect these days, folks.
That's true.
Just as I called him initially, and everyone then laughed at me. He's back to that place, I believe. I don't know. I mean, like, how many young players are playing above their rookie contract better than Tyler is? So,
the only issue there is like the player we always compared Tyler to CJ McCollum, who happens to be in Portland. If people don't know why we're talking about this today, it's because Neil O'Shea, who's been the general manager with the Blazers for 9 years, actually, but didn't seem to have the best relationship with Dame here over the past year or two. He was ousted in an investigation. What's that?
Sorry to interrupt you, Ethan. It may keep Dame there. Like I posted that hypothetical, but maybe they bring in a guy who completely revamps the roster now.
Dame Lillard, by the way, is shooting about the way that Duncan Robinson is right now. Ricky, you're smirking. I'm not sure. What are you thinking about this?
Well, 2 things. One, I just signed up for this ASX thing, and I'm looking forward to re-watching that ad read you did, so I can put the code in and potentially win the 300. So
0603, Ricky.
Company man.
You know why that's an easy code? They're playing Milwaukee. I didn't even come up with this. Who were the 2 guys who dunked on the Bucks?
0603, Lane and LeBron.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking the 2 greatest players in Heat history.
No, well, that would be 15. And well, he also wore 6, Rio. But yeah, that was 0603. So just think LeBron, Dwayne against the Bucks, dunk, you win $300. That's how this works. Anyway, Ricky, go ahead.
Seems legit.
Yep.
Okay. Well, look, my goodness. So what is it? Kyle Lowry and Tyler Herro for Damian Lillard? Is that what was?
Well, Kyle Lowry would be to make the money work.
Yeah,
right?
There would have to be a lot more involved.
Oof. You know what? Yeah, why not? Whatever. I mean, Damian Lillard is who he is.
For which side, Ricky? I mean, do you think that the Blazers would even entertain that?
I'm not sure, but I'm sad. I was actually thinking about this in the car today. It's sad that Damian Lillard isn't. I mean, I know he's a class act and everything, but I just don't want him to spend an extra season where it's pointless, like Kevin Garnett did in Minnesota. It's just not fair to him. And I understand maybe he really doesn't want to leave and he's genuine about really trying to make this thing work. But at some point, you got to know when to fold him. And Portland, there's no real direction. They've been the type of team that have tread water and then Damian would go supernova and then they'd somehow be competitive. But at this point, it's just, I don't see how that works. He's going to I think he's 30 now, if I'm not mistaken, or close to it.
Yeah.
Take a look at Kyle Lowry. That tank is going to go empty soon enough, and you don't want to get him, and you don't want him to be in a position to actually win a title and then have that tank go empty. I'm watching that right now, and it's not fun.
I saw that. First thing, like, Dame is he's actually 31 at this stage. So yes,
he should have left 2 years ago.
Yeah. But what's interesting is he kind of in a couple stories he compared himself, to wanting to do what Giannis did and win in one market. But again, Giannis controls everything. Dame doesn't, and also Giannis is younger. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, it's just not. It's not going to happen for Dame there. I feel like Dame may end up going the Gary Payton route. Like GP was very, was sort of the engine and that team reached the finals. Okay, Dame has never reached the finals, but they got to a conference finals. He was the engine for that team a long time. Very loyal to Seattle, beloved in that city. But it was clear then they weren't really going to get over the top. And then obviously GP then was traded to Milwaukee and there were some other places he went, but came to Miami and won one when he wasn't really GP anymore, but the ring still counts. Like I feel like it may be more that than the Garnett situation where KG had more in the tank, not to be what he was, but to still be a leader of that Boston team, right? I mean, Greg,
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
I think I don't know. I have a feeling Dame's gonna get traded. Not now, but I think eventually it's inevitable that he's going to just see that it's hopeless in Portland and they're not going to win. And he really wants to win. And I know that he stuck around there because I think the circumstances didn't present themselves the way that he would have liked in terms of teaming up with I know he didn't want to go to LA. So there's another situation that he would like better. And I don't know which one that is. So I don't know. I still think he gets traded eventually, but not to Miami. Like I want to also reiterate, as I tweeted that, I believe that the most realistic thing is to expect Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo to be the anchors of this franchise go forward.
Yep. All right, let's get back to tonight's game. I don't know how you can be optimistic, Brady. I
am. I have a data point. No, but I even have a data point.
Okay, go ahead, and then we'll go to Brady. How are you optimistic?
I have a location.
So right now in Yahoo Sportsbook, 57% of the money is coming in on Miami plus 5.5. I'm feeling like they're 4-1 against the spread versus the Pacers on the road in the regular season and playoffs since 2019. There's a glimmer of hope. You're not buying it. Nobody's buying it. All right, whatever.
Yeah, I just feel like going into this, it's kind of crazy to say before the season heading in, we talk about Tyler Herro. Like, we're hopping into this knowing what we're getting from Tyler Herro. Like, you're going to get a great Tyler Herro, and you still don't really know what you're getting at the end of this. Like, it all comes down to Duncan and Lowry. And I can say this, basically what you're getting from these bench guys in two ways, as I said before. Denman's going to provide you at least a solid night, and obviously the defensive scheming is going to help out. But it literally, if Lowry doesn't attack and doesn't get shot attempts up and doesn't have more shot attempts than Max Strus, if Duncan doesn't at least get you 4 to 5 threes tonight, like, it's just going to be a tough one to win. As banged up as the Pacers have been throughout the season, as up and down as they've been, it's just hard to say. And in Indiana, especially the last memory we have about them in Indiana is one of their worst games of the season. Obviously, they've had worse up to this point because of all the bang up. But when they didn't have Lowry, that was a terrible game. Like, Tyler had 28 shots. He was 12 for 28. It was just a mess. They didn't crack 100 points. It just feels like I have that in my head. I don't think they win this one. I feel like this is just a big Tyler Herro game that ends up in a loss again. But ultimately, it comes down to the starting backcourt.
By the way, if you want to bet it, go to BetUS, use the code 5. If you want to take the points, I would not. Ricky, your feelings?
Look, I know Greg has to be the optimist, and honestly, I respect that. I really do.
It's
Somebody's
a contract.
got to be. Right, and I get it. That we all have our roles to play on this show. But here's the thing. He might have a data point. I have a location. Miami is 12-48 all time in Indiana. And this Heat
That's
team
a great data point.
Yeah, this Heat team has had much more championship caliber teams than this Pacers team, and yet somehow, for some reason, it took Jermaine O'Neal putting on a Heat jersey for the curse to end back in 08-09. No, I'm sorry. Was it 08-09 or 09-10?
Sounds right.
09-10.
One of those
early when he had those back-to-back games of 20 and 10 and then disappear disappeared shortly thereafter. Look, it's just a bad situation right now. Miami doesn't have the personnel, and on top of that, they're going into Indiana. I'm not as pessimistic or realistic I am realistic, but I'm not as pessimistic objectively as I was last season because Miami still, in spite of everything that's happening, even with Bam's thumb and everything, I don't think they're in the same position long-term in terms of this season as they were last season. But the reality is they're playing Indiana tonight and they're playing Milwaukee tomorrow night. They don't have the pieces, they don't have the personnel, and we'll be asking for a lot just to be close in this game. I don't see it happening. It doesn't mean they're not going to have their. It doesn't mean they're not going to get back on track later in December. But for this weekend,
I guarantee victory.
Wow!
At some point this season, yes.
At some point
tonight, tomorrow night, all bets are off. But tonight, I guarantee victory.
It's not going to be tonight or tomorrow night, but there will be a victory around the corner. I will say this: you mentioned Indiana. And we've got people tweeting at us that like 75% of the people going in there are Heat fans. So maybe that will help because what's interesting about Indiana is if the team is not that good, the fans don't go there. When the
This
team
is
is
true.
good, that place is rabid, and it's
That's why they can't tank.
Well, there
yeah,
goes
but-
Duncan
right.
shooting.
Right. Well, but here's the thing, and I'm sure a lot of them are going in to root for Tyler Herro.
Oh,
But
it's
I'll
gone,
just say
Brady.
I'll just say this: to beat Indiana in that building, it required what was, I mentioned LeBron and Wade earlier, arguably the best two-man performance over a 2-game period that I've literally ever seen. Go back and look at what happened in 2012 after Bosch got hurt and they got back. They were unbelievable, and that was just to win a couple games there. I don't see it tonight. I just don't. And I don't know that it's going to be particularly close. I feel like when Jimmy comes back, they will find a game without Bam. I feel like when Jimmy comes back, they will figure out a way to play without Bam. But until he's back, you're asking a 21-year-old kid to do everything. You've got a point guard who doesn't really want to do anything, and you've got a 2 guard playing with the other guy who is so in his head right now he can't get out. I don't know. I think Dedmon will give them a representative effort. Even if they had Markieff Morris tonight, I would feel better. They just don't have the horses. They just don't have the horses tonight. All right. Alejandro's going to take it from here. Thanks to Ricky. Thanks to Greg. Thanks to Brady. Thanks to our sponsors, markbrownpa.com. And of course, Biscayne Bay Brewing. And sign up, ASX. Go to the Google Play Store. Go to the iTunes Store. It's not called the iTunes Store anymore. I'm sorry, the App Store. And start and play around with it. If you have questions, you can certainly ask me on Twitter. But use the code 0603 LeBron and Dwayne. Maybe they can bring some of that back tonight. Have a good night.
All right. Remember also, Ethan forgot there, to join us at Pace and Spaces during halftime. Our friends Sean, Marco, and maybe Ricky. Ricky's maybe going there at halftime. Look at his face right now. And join them. They're going to be, as soon as the second quarter is over, they're going to be there on Twitter. So Sean, Marco, and Tony are going to be doing Pace and Spaces. And then right after the game, right after the fourth quarter, you can come to the YouTube channel and join us for the post-op show hosted by Royal Shepherd. So let's go and listen to some of the press conferences after that horrible game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And let's start with our friend Eric Spoelstra. He's going to be the first one. Then we have Kyle Lowry, Bam Adebayo talking about his injury and his surgery, and Tyler Herro. Let's start with Eric Spoelstra.
Struggled around the rim. How much of their length kind of impact you guys?
Yeah, it definitely impacted us. They're a very good defensive team. They have great size, length. They're well coached, well schooled on what they're trying to do, and they're doing it with intention. And you have to be very intentional. Executing against that kind of size. They did a really good job of protecting the paint, protecting the rim, and obviously I think it was double-digit blocks the last time I looked. They did a great job defensively.
Their three-point shooting, was it a matter of them just hitting shots, or did you not like the way you guys were defending the three-point looks you guys were giving up?
A little bit of both. There was some where they broke free and we felt that we could have done a better job of having that recognition. And then there was some that we were there, based on the percentages. You don't want to give like wide open looks, but we were there and they, knocked down, timely ones when they really needed to. And then their shooters, knocked down, the ones that they do.
How much of this is also coming to the emotional grips of what was announced today, knowing you're without a leader like Bam for 6 weeks and maybe without Jimmy for another 3 games also just wrapped?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we don't want to take anything away from what Cleveland did. There is a human part of it. We all felt like it was a punch to the gut. Bam was with us yesterday and he was basically, in great spirits and everything. And, that probably plays a part to it, but I think a bigger part to it was, Cleveland played a very good basketball game. They defended us extremely well, and we had times where we were making the right plays, and other times where they were really, jamming us up.
For as much as he's been through, Duncan has never gone through a game without making at least one, his streak of 69 in a row entered. Number one, what's the next step here? And two, were you aware of the streak when you held him out of the fourth quarter?
No. But, at that point, we're not playing for somebody's individual streak. He'll have plenty of opportunities to go on another one.
And Kyle, will he need to step up a little bit more, or is that maybe just asking him to be outside of himself when it comes to the points that are missing when a Jimmy and a Bam are out?
We also need a little bit of, time just to assess everything and formulate a new plan, a new direction, and that'll include Jimmy. Kyle's a savvy player. He understands, what's needed, for that moment during that particular time in the season, as well as anybody in this league. But collectively as a group, we'll make the necessary adjustments. When you lose an all-star player, it's never easy, but this is the league. And when I look around the league, I see, a lot of teams dealing with injuries and guys out and guys coming back. And there's a lot of that going on right now. And we just have to weather the storm and recalibrate and figure out a new plan, new direction, which our guys are very capable of doing.
Obviously, you have to go about it in a slightly different way, but there still seemed to be the same concerted effort team-wide to keep the ball out of the paint tonight. Kind of big picture moving forward, do you have to recalibrate, like you said, your defensive target as far as the shot profile we want to give up, or do you have the same goal?
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, the tail of their threes, there were some of them that I thought we made the right plays and they just knocked them down, based on the percentages. The ones that we weren't able to get to Kevin Love, for example. I think we could have done better on those. You never want to give any team any open looks or any kind of rhythm looks. I think in the first half, our closeouts and discipline on going up for shot fakes that opened up some either open shots or driving lanes, wasn't our best version, but we'll get better at that.
You touched on the length of Cleveland, but Herro's seen a bunch of different coverages throughout the year, just throughout this season. Did you see anything different in his shots, just with the length added? Was there any different way you went about things? Just what did you see from that?
Well, that was a factor for sure. It's one thing to watch it on film and go over it in a walkthrough before the game until you actually experience it, where you really have to be dialed into your spacing, your actions, and your intentions on every single possession. Otherwise, they can just, they just swallow you up with that size, and they did that, in quite a few possessions tonight. But that's a credit to them. Like I said, they're well coached. They've put together a team that has a specific identity, and they've been a top 5 defensive team. After the first 10 days when I started, looking at it, you notice that they were up there from the beginning of the year. They've been doing that, for several weeks now.
KZ will often play with another big next to him, but what do you like about what he brings as the lone big, maybe playing at that center spot?
Yeah, we have to figure that out, Anthony. I'm not totally sure right now. Defensively, he can do a lot of similar things to what we do with Bam. It's a different skill set for us offensively, with him at the 5. It's something that I'm going to have to figure out. But he had some good pockets of moments in this game, and hopefully that's something we can build on.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
You need surgery, and they said an estimated 6 weeks.
Major injury in my NBA career, so definitely one of those things where didn't expect that. So I would say unexpected.
I guess that point, you spoke a couple nights ago, asked about the hand, and you said it was fine. I mean, Did you go? When did you find out the news, and how surprised were you when you received it?
This morning. And then, I'm not the type of person to put out negative energy. So I always think positive. Today was a downer. But for the 6 weeks, can't change nothing about it. That was my only option.
Were there any teammates that you confided in or needed to kind of bounce off all that negative energy to kind of make yourself feel better with everything you're feeling, I'm sure, the last 24 hours?
Nah, I kind of didn't want my teammates to worry about it. They got bigger responsibilities. I'm out, so I can't change that. So they still got to play games. They still got to compete. They still got to go out there and do their job.
Obviously, this size made a huge difference tonight. That was apparent out there. Are there things you're going to try to do or work with, whether it's Omer or KZ or Dwayne, and just from what you can do from now, someone who's sort of watching from the side and try to sort of help and provide input where you can?
Yeah. I think the number one thing for us is film. I feel like we need to see, like our rights and wrongs, our don't do's and do's. I feel like it's, with Omer and KZ, it's a learning process for them. Right now they get thrown in the fire. And when I was a rookie and I got thrown in the fire, UD did a great job of, just kept watching film with me, kept trying to, get me going. And I feel like I'm going to do the same with them. I feel like Dwayne's got a pretty feel for game. He's, this is 10th year in. So he's a decade, so he got the hang of it. But film never hurt.
You've always been a real glass half full kind of guy. Even if it's the full 6 weeks, you could still come back for the entire second half of the season. So are you sort of looking at it as there'll still be a whole half of the season, no matter where it stands, for you to put your imprint and get ready for the playoffs?
Yeah, 100%. I'm already ready for my 6 weeks to be over. But it's a grind, and then get back healthy, and then help my team win some games.
All right, Bam, that's it. Thank you.
Black Lives Matter, people.
All right, that was Bam Adebayo and Eric Spoelstra before him. After that, Miami Heat lost against the Cleveland Cavaliers at home. So the starting five for the Miami Heat tonight, it's out, and it's Dwayne Dedmon, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro, PJ Tucker, and Kyle Lowry. So same starting lineup that faced the Cleveland Cavaliers a couple of nights ago. And that's going to be the starting five tonight for the Miami Heat. So let's continue. We have a couple more press conferences, and then we'll be ready to get and watch the game between the Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers. So let's go and let's listen now to Kyle Lowry.
With teammates before, some for a lengthy period. Can you sort of fill us in on how you think a team moves forward after getting sort of devastating news of a leading man being out for probably at least 6 weeks?
Next man up. I always, it's a team. We just got to find ways to make up for what he does, which is hard to do. And, it's not really, you can't fully make up for it, but you just got to give a little bit more effort, a little bit more, just a lot more of everything.
Bam is so unique, and so much of what you guys do is designed around his unique skill set. What's that middle ground like of trying to tweak things to kind of fit maybe others that are getting more playing time, but also sticking to what's been working for you?
We got to change some stuff, or not change things, but just adjust, adapt. It's a big thing when you lose a guy like Bam. Even you lose, Jimmy's been out also, and you got two guys out like that. That's kind of, you gotta focus a little bit more and focus on the details of everything. Can't have lack of, coverage, communication. A lot. You gotta be really locked into everything and honed in fully.
Kyle, is there any weirdness for you from a leadership standpoint? Like you were brought here, to play alongside Bam and Jimmy, and now you're kind of thrust in this position where people are going to be looking to you as kind of like the lone leader.
Oh no, it's not weird. I mean, they're still here, and Bam was on the bench tonight. Jimmy's still in communication, but it's not weird. It's just one of the things where we have a great full coaching staff and got some other leaders and some veterans in our team, so we're all good.
Kyle, when Bam has been on the floor this year, we've seen a lot of zone, we've seen some blitzing, trapping, we've different things in your base scheme, I guess. Is this a matter of dialing those kind of things up, or do you have to find other things just to make it work?
Wow, good question. Every game's gonna be different. Every game is going to be coverage, matchup based, I would think, a little bit more. I think we just have to find the matchups and the coverages that work for that game, who we're playing against, the team we're playing against, the individual stars that we're playing against. So every night's going to be a different night and different adjustment.
There was a point, Kyle, where we saw you talk to KZ about apparently an assignment in the wrong place. Tyler went over them also. You might have to rely a little bit more on youth of KZ and Omer, maybe than initially thought with this team. What's that process going to be like, getting two relative neophytes up to speed for very important games?
I mean, they got to play. This is a professional league. You got to be prepared to play. You got to stay ready to be ready and always just be ready to go. Our coaching staff does a good job of, having everybody on, when they do their pre-practice stuff and their workouts and everything. But like I said, this is a league, this is our job. So you got to be ready to do your job. Thank you, guys. Oh, we got another one?
I have one more, sir.
Okay.
You also had some minutes there with PJ at center. And he's played center a little bit this season too. But what do you like about those lineups? And I guess what are the strengths of those groups?
Just PJ is going to make the right play every time, offensively and defensively, but in that lineup, we got to be scrappier. We got to be a lot more tougher in those type of lineups. So it's kind of, when PJ is in that position, he knows how to play the game and he knows what to do. So, he's done it before the last basically 4 years. He played center or, whatever, 2 years, but he's really good at what he does and at a high level. So, with him at that lineup, we know the right decisions will be made all the time. Thank you, guys.
All right, Kyle, thank you.
Like this, when you get pounded on the boards and size really matters.
Yeah, first off, just want to say, hopefully Bam gets speedy recovery, good luck with the surgery, but just hopefully, it's always next man up. That's always been our motto, since I've been here, and we'll need guys to step up. Whether Jimmy, is back for this road trip or not. With those two guys out, someone's got to step up. Multiple guys got to step up. It's a collective unit that's going to get this done. It's not going to be any easier, in these next couple games. I think, just next guy up, and we just got to continue to fight and compete.
How much was it of a gut punch was it when you found out the significance? I mean, Bam had been downplaying it, said his hand was just sore, and then boom, surgery, an estimated 6 weeks. What was that shock like when you found that out?
Yeah, I mean, it was horrible. Any time, one of your brothers goes down like that, it's never a good feeling. Like I said, speedy recovery and hopefully surgery goes well. We obviously need him more than ever, and hopefully he can get back out there with us, as soon as he can.
So much of what you guys do defensively is built around his skill set and just how unique he is. What changes from your point of view on the end of the court without him?
I mean, this was the first day we really knew, that he wasn't going to play and he was out. So I'm sure there'll be some adjustments that are made defensively. But for the most part tonight, it was kind of the same schemes with the switches and stuff like that. So like I said, guys will have to step up in his role, and not just bigs, but guards got to help rebound. We got killed on the glass tonight, and I think All 5 guys on the floor can really, really impact the game, whether it's defensively or rebounding.
Tyler, like you said, there needs to be some time to make adjustments, but when Dwayne is at center, is a starter, or when PJ is now a backup center, what can those guys bring to those units? That might be a different look, but you guys can still find success with them.
Yeah, I mean, we blitz, defensively, with Deadman a little bit more often than we do with anyone else at the 5. So I think that will speed us up a little bit and get us moving, get us into rotations, which isn't always a bad thing with us. I think, once we get moving around, that gets us in transition and things like that, getting stopped. So, whether it's and then if we put PJ at the 5, we can go small as well. But there's going to be some adjustments, like I said, and we're just going to have to continue at it and keep going.
You've seen a lot of different coverages this season defensively. Just personally, was there a big difference? Because it seems like this was one of the first time you've felt the length of a guy like that individually. Was there a different way you went about it, just scoring wise, the approach?
Yeah, I mean, they're one of the, Spoke kept, telling us, they're one of the longest teams in the league. I think the longest team. So, they got a bunch of guys that can, swallow you up if you get into bad areas on the floor, where they can use their length, use deflections, block shots, and things like that. But kudos to Cleveland. They did a great job defensively, and really made me take some tough shots. I feel like after shooting them, I could have got some better looks, whether it's for me or my teammates. So I got to be better in that regard, which I will be next game, and we just move on to the next one and bounce back.
All right, Tyler, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, that was Tyler Herro again after that awful loss against the Cleveland Cavaliers a couple of nights ago. So we're done with the pregame show. The starting lineup for tonight, the starting 5, is the same one that the Miami Heat used against Cleveland. So it's going to be Dwayne Dedmon in the 5, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro, PJ Tucker, and Kyle Lowry. And hopefully we see some better basketball tonight from these guys. So remember, join us at Pace and Spaces during halftime. As soon as the second quarter is over, go to Twitter, click on their link, and you're going to be able to listen to our halftime show. And then as soon as the game's over, come over here to the YouTube channel and join us for the post-game show here, hosted by our friend Royal Shepherd. Have a good night, enjoy the game, and hopefully the Miami Heat can at least play a close one tonight so you guys enjoy your Friday night. And remember, tomorrow we're going to be back. It's a back-to-back weekend away, and then on Monday we are going to be in here in Miami for the Memphis Grizzlies, and I'm going to be there in FTX Arena bringing a lot of content for you guys. So have a good night, enjoy the game, and we will see you later tonight.